welcome to the show,
What's going on,
Wyatt Reed,
Wyatt?
amazing investigative journalist, amazing writer. I appreciate you joining our show.
And
We're
I'm a great cook
covering,
too.
yeah, absolutely, and we're covering the Western media lies and propaganda regarding the slaughter by Israel when they bombed the Palestinian hospital. I want to get your general take on the situation, the lies that has been spread, and any reaction you may have had hearing Rachel Maddow spread Israeli lies as well. Welcome to RBN, Wyatt Reed. Thank you for joining us. What's your initial thoughts?
Great to be here. Thanks for having me. I mean, it's just obvious lies. She said with a straight face that Israel doesn't target hospitals. I sent you on Twitter just now, actually. It's a
Let me
press
look.
release from the World Health Organization released 4 days ago, and I'll just read it to you. As the United Nations agency responsible for public health, the World Health Organization strongly condemns Israel's repeated orders for the evacuation of 22 hospitals treating more than 2,000 inpatients
Oh my
in northern
God.
Gaza. Right?
That's
So
crazy, bro.
they threatened, basically, this is 22 hospitals that they have threatened to
Jesus.
bomb. 22 hospitals. And I sent you another thing where Middle East the headline of this article is, "These are the hospitals Israel is threatening to bomb in Gaza." And it lists out every single one of the 22 hospitals who have received orders like this, basically evacuate or die.
Yeah.
And so we had this whole week, we had a series of doctors coming out and publicly saying, you know what, if you have to kill us, kill us. We're not abandoning our sick and dying patients. We're not abandoning children to die from bombs that your Air Force is going to just murder civilians with. We're not going to abandon our patients no matter how you threaten us. And so this was the response. This was obviously, and it's incredible. It's like this total inversion of the Russia-Ukraine dynamic, where it's just, everything that happens, it's all Hamas's fault. Any civilian casualties incurred by when Israel bombs Gaza, that's also Hamas's fault. And it was the same way with Russia. It was, if the people are dying from shelling in Donetsk, which they are every week, well, that's Russia's fault too for, invading in the first place. So it's like, this totally twisted logic that has no context, no room for context. And in fact, if you try to inject a little context, you'll have what happened to Mehdi Hassan, Ali Velshi, and the third.
Man, Mehdi didn't even get a chance to inject context before they got his ass out. Right. We still waiting on, like, hey man, so what's going on? Like, so did they really just fire 3 fucking Muslims because they were Muslim? Like, that is insane to me. Like, we
they didn't fire them. They're not gonna fire them. They're just gonna silence them because they know they have contracts, and it's like benching them basically. To where
they put 2 of them on 2 other like they have them randomly report on other shows.
Right.
But like Mehdi, they've like
they're no longer anchoring.
Mehdi like got removed. I haven't seen Mehdi on TV since, because I mean, which is kind of crazy to say, but he's actually been the most consistent. He's been kind of trying to push people towards the truth about Palestine since this whole situation popped off, and it's like he's getting punished the most, probably because he's the most popular too. So, but yeah, like we just witnessed.
Well, I have no real love for Mehdi Hassan, who I
none
think is Snake. I actually do think the other 2 hosts are better and more like I think they actually believe in things, whereas like Mehdi, I think just kind of, he's like a snake.
You want to know the funny thing, Wyatt and Niko?
Yeah.
I've been covering Ali Velshi for a while because we do propaganda report on here. Ali Velshi has been one of the most unhinged reporters regarding Ukraine and Russia, and it's almost like he's their go-to guy. Like, they trust him on this issue.
Right.
He reported on it more than other people do. And it shows that even if you get one empire issue right, if you are a loyal lapdog to the empire, if you dare cross them on any issue, they will quickly yank you, because there's no one that's been more unhinged on Ukraine than Ali Velshi. I've been watching this guy. Like, he's been the brown.
But even more so though, it's it adds obviously credibility for him to be so bad on all of these other issues, right? But then, because of his own personal experiences, because of the experiences of maybe him and his family, when he comes out and he says, yeah, Israel isn't really exactly in the right on this, that it's the equivalent of you or I coming out and saying, well, of course, fucking, we're not going to vote for Joe Biden. Why? He's great for black people. No, he isn't. He's fucking horrible. What? A black person saying that? It's the same thing, right? So like that, it adds too much credibility to the truth when somebody who's always lying is directly connected to the. It's like Tommy Loren's actually good when it comes to like freedom of choice with abortion. She's really good at that. It's like Candace Owens, who's really good on the when it comes to the private prison industry. She wants to completely abolish it, but she might be horrible but this because of her personal situation with her family and her brother specifically. Some people are good on very specific issues because of their personal experiences and they can't look away. And so when you have 3 Muslim anchors who might have ties to the situation coming out, and even if they're 40% right on the issue, it's still too much.
You can't have that.
You got to yank them out there. It's like, I mean, it's a lot like the 2003 days, you know, Iraq War days, where Phil Donahue's getting yanked at MSNBC for actually saying, hold on, what the hell are we doing? Maybe this is not a good idea. Maybe we shouldn't just launch an open-ended war based on lies and take all this stuff at face value. And he was fine. I mean, they didn't even have like that many Arab or Muslim hosts at the time. So it was like they didn't really have anyone to suspend. And now they do,
which is crazy enough,
right? And like, you know, so now they've got somebody to kind of explain just how racist they were. I think a lot of people kind of made the mistake of thinking, especially liberals, that like, oh, all the like anti-Arab racism has vanished because it's just like it's kind of gotten lost in the
children
in the mix, and you know, there's like the current villain of the day has been rotating between like Chinese people and Russians. And so I think a lot of people kind of were like, oh, you know, we haven't heard like open racism against Arabs in a while. Maybe they just forgot. And, you know, no, exactly. All of a sudden, like, no, it was always there the whole time. It didn't go anywhere. And I mean, I might be guilty a little bit of this too, like of assuming that some of these like right wing or more populist types, like actually were learning something from Ukraine. Like actually we're learning that the media lies all the time about every country that they don't like.
Right, because all of the ones that were wrong on Iraq and Afghanistan before could probably admit, yo, we got that shit completely wrong. Our bad.
Right.
And then
all these people calling out neocons. They've spent the past year and a half calling out neocons, how they control our foreign policy establishment, and now they're just like even more unhinged than the neocons almost.
Yeah, absolutely. We must fight against the globalists, but we had the same global position the globalists do on Israel.
Right, exactly.
Okay, bro.
Imagine agreeing with Nikki Haley, Bibi Netanyahu, Joe Biden, Ben Shapiro, Fox News, CNN, New York Times, and like at the same damn time. And you're like, but I'm definitely on the right side, even though they're literally on the opposite side of everything I support every other time when I'm right. But this time they're right.
Right.
Every time the U.S. like who I cheer for? It's like if I'm gonna cheer for anybody, if I just had to make a choice, right? I'm gonna look at whoever the U.S. is giving the most aid to, and then I'm gonna go cheer for the opposite fucking team. That's what I'm gonna do. It's not hard. It's not hard algebra, bro. I mean, I'm not a mad scientist or anything like that, but like it's 2 + 2 = fuck whoever the USA is giving money to. That's basically where I'm at with it. And usually you're right? Like when has that gone wrong?
Yeah, I'm gonna read the super chat. Go ahead, Wyatt. Go ahead, Wyatt.
No, I can't think of any time recently when that math would have failed you. You know, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head with that.
I'm literally thinking about like when has that not been the case?
And it's just like look at the UN Security Council today, right? Brazil introduced this resolution.
Yes.
They didn't even call it a ceasefire. They tried to throw the Americans a bone and say, instead of calling for a ceasefire, we're going to call for humanitarian pauses, right? Just a little break in the action. You can keep bombing afterwards, but you just you got to let just a little bit of aid
in. Trying to give them out. Yeah, trying to give them out.
And even that wasn't good enough. Every single, the U.S. was the lone no vote on this of the entire Security Council. And, 12 votes in favor, 2 abstentions, and the U.S. voting against, vetoing the whole thing, shutting down the entire show. No humanitarian aid. No.
Why? That's Hamas's fault. That is Hamas's fault.
And it's all Hamas's fault.
They shouldn't have been using the UN officials as human shields from the back room. I don't know. I guess that's what it was. I just know that every time something doesn't go right, it's Hamas's fault, apparently. So
I was gonna cover this later, but
Let's
since
get this
Wyatt
man a
brought it up,
job
I'll
on
bring it
legacy media ASAP.
Bro, I know, right? I got the script down, right? It's Hamas's fault, bro. What you mean?
So I was gonna bring this up later, but I'll bring it up now just since Wyatt mentioned it. In a rational society, this will get you impeached. Like this should be impeachment worthy. You're complicit with a genocide. Not only did the United States and Biden voted to end the ceasefire, and they were joined by the UK, France, and Japan. Imperial Japan is back. They doubled the military budget, and now they offer genocide once again. You got
we just
Germany
gave them a bunch of money, didn't we?
That was the resolution from the day before. That was yesterday's resolution. I think that was the Russian one, right? So that was the first one that called for a ceasefire. That went nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, and then they had a watered down version the Brazilians introduced. Didn't call for a ceasefire. Called for humanitarian pauses. That's not good enough either.
Yeah, that's
I think it needs to just call for all Palestinians to just like drink the Kool-Aid Jim Jones style. Like that might get the U.S. approval.
Yeah, well said, Wyatt. And you see, this is the second vote, and this one was so crazy that Imperial Japan.
Oh yeah, hey, by the way, just really quick, I gotta mention this. So like Japan randomly decided to vote with the U.S. Remember what I say? Like if the U.S. gives them money, fuck that guy. So the U.S. chief praises Japan's defense funding boost, says a buttress against China. Yeah.
And Biden helped lobby towards that to happen. The same way that Biden is sending nuclear submarines to Australia and South Korea, they played a big role of the far right government in Japan being more militaristic. You guys know that Shinzo Abe was assassinated. He was very close with many people in the Democratic Party, including Joe Biden's White House domestic advisor, Neera Tanden. Neera Tanden had a very close relationship with Shinzo Abe, and he was a apologist for Imperial Japan's war crimes. And his position was that Japan should never apologize for it. We did nothing wrong. He wanted to bring back Imperial Japan. That was his party. His party is in power, and I got to look at look at the current prime minister. But the person who took charge after him was a direct descendant of Shinzo Abe political idea. So this ruling party is now becoming more militarized, ready to go to war with China. The same people that believe that Imperial Japan should never apologize for killing and genociding many people in China. You guys see what's going on right now? And the same country joined the West on their unhinged campaign against China. They voted against ceasefires in Israel. Japan has gone insane, just like Germany, who is now more remilitarized now. They are praising Nazis again. Like, you guys see what's happening?
It's so wild how that just keeps happening in Germany. It's almost as if somebody keeps allowing it to happen or even facilitating it, right? Like, it's just every time there's a bill specifically passed to stop them from having a super powerful military, and it just keeps happening. I don't know. Like, I'm sure you can't just trace it back to all the companies that keep giving them money that just also happen to be incorporated in the U.S. Like, it's just kind of weird how every time there's money to be found, Nazis just so happen to pick it up. That's just crazy to me. Like,
probably
every single time. It's probably coincidental for like the last 100 years. Yeah. I just can't believe they, bro. Like, can we talk about the fact, because what isn't being discussed with that's obviously right. I think that we should talk about two things. One, the U.S. is letting you know, obviously they don't give a shit about ceasefire or peace, but they're also letting you know that they stand to gain from the war. That's why they're vetoing this. Because otherwise, why not? Like, even if you just want to, like, even if you don't actually intend on enforcing it, if you're the U.S., you could easily just vote in favor just to save face. But they're letting you know, nah, we have a vested interest in this war popping off, which is terrifying, because we still don't even really know what that is. They don't really benefit from Palestinian people being wiped out. So it's clearly something else. But there's this other thing. The fact that Biden decided to conveniently plan his trip for today, made that bullshit ass announcement that he's about to send $100 million in aid to Gaza, which, once again, if you know anything about Gaza, not a damn thing, not a cent gets through Gaza without Israel touching the money. That's just the way it goes. Like, go ahead.
Meanwhile, how much? And meanwhile, Netanyahu is demanding $10 billion, right? So we're gonna let like a little literally 1%. We might, let that in.
And then while this is getting vetoed, and that's not really being covered on the news, everybody's either tacitly praising Biden. Oh, look at him giving aid, right? Look at him sitting down with Bibi Netanyahu to bring peace. Why this motherfucker simultaneously is giving the order? Yeah, veto that shit. But I'm going to distract them. Because everybody's like, what took him so long to get to Israel? You think he just picked a random Wednesday in the middle of the fucking week for no reason? Like, that was why. So that we didn't talk about this. And then the thing that he vetoed, that whole $100 million bullshit, it's not happening no more because of that specific resolution not allowing the aid to get through. So we're back to square one. And so like all of it was so masterfully planned. And here we are once again.
The timing of it is so bizarre. It's like they waited for Biden and the U.S. Central Command leader to both be in country to carry out this insane strike. And it's kind of like, how could they not know? And then they're immediately on the same page. It probably was the other team. It wasn't Israel. Israel wouldn't do that. It must have been a fire rocket.
Okay. Hey, well, I'm curious how you feel about this the whole "it didn't really happen" thing going on. Whenever Israel actually was the one who claimed that it happened, with various sources saying they claimed credit for it, they took credit for it, and then they said, "Oh, it's actually Hamas's fault." Then they actually put out the fabricated audio with Hamas too, which is another thing. Like,
the story has changed so many times at this point, I can barely keep up.
Yeah.
Bro, and now they're like, oh, it was like a parking lot. And I don't even know if that's actually the parking lot of the hospital because obviously I'm not there. I don't know anybody who's there right now. So I imagine that you actually wouldn't be able to see the parking lot of the hospital because everybody's setting up. They probably had to have all the tents and shit set up and covering the area where all the patients are. So I imagine that's what's crazy about that too. Like people are like, oh man, look at this parking lot. That's definitely what got bombed. I'm like, motherfucker, that looks like it was like on fire at some point, but that don't look like it got a bomb dropped on it.
Right.
So it's just funny to me where you like, okay, so Israel did a bomb get dropped or didn't it get dropped? Were y'all guilty of it or was it not guilty of it? Was the audio real or was it not real? Or was Israel lying the entire time and there was never an explosion?
That's a big part of the strategy is you just kind of flood the zone. You just like put so much out there that the casual viewer is kind of overwhelmed and it kind of loses the plot and they just know something bad happened and those people hate each other. And who's to say, right?
Exactly. It's like, so basically they choose which lie to believe.
Right. It's like a choose your own adventure. Like you just kind of adopt this thing. And like, okay, well, I'm going to turn to page 72 where Hamas is the bad guys after all. Like, okay.
And then when you tell, like, I'm just this morning, I was like, people were putting that out like, oh, it never happened. I'm like, hold on. Because I recognized one of the accounts that like was claiming that it was Hamas yesterday. And they're like, oh, well, it never actually happened. I'm like, well, no, Israel was the one who said it happened. What do you mean?
Yeah,
like, no, that was Hamas. It's like, no, that was Israel. They blame Hamas. Y'all forgot? They immediately forgot. Immediately, the next fucking day. They're like, actually, not that the math is adding up. It actually does make sense that Israel would do this. Oh, thank God it's not real. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's not real.
Right.
Oh, go ahead. My bad, Nick.
No, all good. I'm greatly enjoying this. And one of the reasons why Biden's complicit, not only is he shooting down ceasefires and shooting down humanitarian pauses for life-saving aid, you have, just like the situation with Shireen Abdul-Akleh that I told you guys about, they are currently shielding Israel and aiding their confusion. We all know Israel bombed the hospital. The entire world know Israel bombed the hospital because all the fucking lies, walkbacks, and evidence that we showed you earlier in the stream. But Biden, Anthony Blinken, the United States is here to further mass confusion. Like I said earlier, Ben Shapiro, and I've read his entire timeline, guys. I torture myself for you guys to understand their argument. Their entire argument is, you have Republicans, like Joe Biden says this, so it must be true. I thought Joe Biden was a liar, Republican, sir.
Right.
Ben Shapiro, I thought Joe Biden was a serial liar. All of a sudden, Ben Shapiro's supporting the Democratic Party now. They cite the IDF, they cite Israel and the United States, and that is their entire argument.
You take the yarmulke off, you don't know if it's Ben Shapiro or Rachel Maddow. You take the yarmulke off, you don't know if it's Ben Shapiro or Rachel Maddow. It sounds exactly the same.
They are literally the same on this issue. Wyatt, do you want to chime in? Look at this headline here, and I'm going to pull up the video of Biden pretty much repeating the lie. It says, U.S. assesses that Israel is not responsible.
How the fuck y'all assess it?
Trust me, bro. Why do you have anything you want to chime in? I pulled the Wyatt video.
Bro,
well, yeah. So I mean, if you scroll down, I think they say what their assessment is based on, and it's like intelligence, missile activity, and open source video and images of the incident.
Bro, did they just say TikTok? Did they just say TikTok? It sounds like that just means TikTok. Right. That's what
it's what all of us are going off of. We're just kind of surfing. We're scrolling, and we did some scrolling, and we saw some OSINT accounts that and Bellingcat retweeted it, so that's good enough for us.
And Ben Shapiro said it wasn't true, so come on.
Right. Guys. Well, I mean, yeah, it really shows you just the double standards. I mean, you had like where's the International Criminal Court, the one that has declared Vladimir Putin to be a war criminal? Yeah, right.
They're not Russian and they're not African, so like they're definitely not going to be prosecuted.
Exactly. and it's like, okay, well, they've been taken over by the U.S. They've been taken over by a guy named Karim Khan, who is just total tool of the establishment. He immediately ended any investigation into U.S. war crimes in Afghanistan. That was just on the chopping block on day one. He's been to Ukraine 4 times over the past year and a half. 4 times. Where is he here? Where is he?
Anybody checked on Zelensky, man? Is he doing okay?
There were protests outside the Hague today where they, hundreds of pro-Palestinian protesters came out and are just asking the same question. Where is the International Criminal Court?
Man, has anybody checked on Zelensky? Like, is he okay?
I think he's in a dark room somewhere,
like crying, bro. Like bro, like probably doing voodoo, like on fucking on BB right now. Like, man, fucking yeah. You just found out you were the side bitch the whole time, bro. You really thought you was about to be the main because they was buying cute little presents and nah, bro. BB's still the main. He's still the main girl, like, and you just found out the hard way. Like, that's what and what's crazy is, which we haven't really seen much news about, is I'm pretty sure that, like, right now, Russia is beating the dog shit out of Ukraine.
Pretty much.
Without, yeah, pretty like, they're beat, like, and there's no news about it because, well,
all this happened. And meanwhile, Zelensky's somewhere in like his studio bunker, and he's just like crying his heart out. Like
he tried to go to Israel.
Let me.
He asked BB. He's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna come and hang out with you, bro." And B was like, "Nah, bro, chill over there, man. We good, man. We good." He's like, "For real? Like, I just, I saw you got 10 billion, so I thought you just had a little." Nah, man, stay over there, dog. Like, come on.
They got him set up at the kids' table, off in Europe. No, you're not allowed into Israel right now.
I want to say this too. I know this will sound like maybe somewhat off, but what I try to look for when I see these pro-Israel tweets, the people who get elevated, right? What I try to look for is I'm like, okay, man, maybe one day I'm gonna see like the Ethiopian or the Yemeni or the Kenyan Jew from Israel coming out and just railing against the Palestinian people. And like I haven't found it yet. I mean, I've been scrolling like just to specifically look for it. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. Maybe they have dog pictures on Twitter or whatever. Maybe, but isn't it super weird how like in a country that's supposed to be, Jews are like all over the world. In fact, I think there's more African Jews than any other kind of Jew. Like, and that's supposed to be the hub for Jews. And they're supposed to protect Jews and uplift Jews. And I'm just trying to understand where the hell the rest of the Jews are at. That's all I'm trying to figure out. Like, where is everyone else at?
The Ethiopian Jews are like basically second-class citizens in Israel. Obviously, the Palestinians are at the bottom of the heap, but it's them. Then you have the Sephardic Jews who are not European Jews, but ironically, that makes them like more viciously racist towards Palestinians because they have to like prove themselves.
They have to,
and it's like here's
the model citizen racism, while they're still dealing with the racism from the Ashkenazi Jews,
right? Exactly.
Which is like no one talks about. Like y'all probably don't even know there's a bunch of Yemeni Jews that are in Israel. There's a bunch of them. Y'all probably never seen one. Like,
well, I mean, they're treated with almost as much suspicion as the Arabs,
Exactly.
And that's like what's happening to the Arab Israelis right now. Well, they're basically being arrested. Thousands of them are like they're going through their phones and like checking what they've liked on Facebook. because that now it's crunch time. It's like
because when it came down to it, y'all thought it was about protecting Israel. Then it was, it's about protecting against anti-Semitism. Well, it's about protecting against Hamas. Well, okay, well, is it about protecting? No, well, it's actually about protecting those in Israel who are Jewish. Well, is it about? Well, no, it's actually about protecting the white majority, actually, that got the ones who got put there that weren't, because everybody we talk about 1948 borders, and everybody forgets that Jews and Muslims actually lived in peace for the most part.
Relatively
speaking,
to what it is today. Absolutely.
Yeah, they had their beefs, but like not anything that wasn't different from any other like groups of religious people living together amongst each other. But like those were Sephardic Jews, and people forget about that. And they were actually displaced when the Ashkenazi Jews came too. That doesn't get discussed. So it's like when you have these conversations, and you got to like realize who got put there, who had the cachet from a certain country cashed in order to justify putting there and then starting that entire conflict, knowing that you were going to have to back. Okay, it was the Ashkenazi. It was the white Ashkenazi Jews. They didn't go get all the Jews that were fucking slaughtered during World War II in Africa, which was a lot, and people don't know about that, and bring them there on the boats. You've seen the pictures of the boats. There's none of them on there. So it's the ones who were put there because the cachet that was cashed in to protect them is from the UK, from the US, from basically NATO powers, et cetera, et cetera. So like, they don't look like me. They don't look like Nick. So when shit hits the fan, it's like World War II. What, just because you thought you were Japanese and you were a US citizen that you're going to be protected, homie? No, you're Japanese. Getting out of internment camp. Sorry.
Well, and if you look at the timeline, I mean, it's so much about establishing just the colonial outpost in the center of the energy production world.
Absolutely.
Right?
That was
what happened 1948, 5 years later, then Iran has a democratic prime minister come into power, Mohammad Mossadegh. He wants to nationalize Iran's oil. The British say over our dead body, and
the UK did too.
It's all happening right at the same time. And then the realization was, this is an extremely important thing to happen. We need to maintain this outpost, as Joe Biden said. If there was no Israel in the world, we would have to create her.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, he did say that. Yep.
Not because we like feel bad about the Holocaust, but because we need some, unsinkable aircraft carrier from which we can bomb the shit out of all the Arabs.
Iran was effectively for a long time like it was the Israel. It was, people forget about that. Like before Israel was Israel, Iran was a kind of effectively their Israel. We used to give them weapons, all kinds of shit. But at the end of the day, like people need to understand this. It is an absurd notion to believe that if we laid down our weapons, like, and Iran wants to destroy us, and like, bro, if Iran wanted Israel gone, Israel would be gone. I don't know, like, how much I can stress that. They went into Iraq. We spent how long in Iraq trying to get rid of terrorists? They're going to Iraq and damn near eliminate all of them in a few years. Come on, bro. Like, this is what they do. If they wanted you gone, you'd be gone. And that's why we got to be careful. If the U.S. sends these damn troops to the, we didn't get to talk about that, but the U.S. has already prepared 2,000 troops to potentially deploy, right? And which makes it even more interesting that happened, yesterday? Then this UN shit happens today, and now we're here. So if we send 2,000 troops, if we send U.S. troops to go kill Palestinians on behalf of Israelis, what the fuck do y'all think is about to happen next, bro?
Right. Well, nobody knows. I mean, it's just like it could go so many different ways.
I don't see it going so many different ways. I see it going one way. I see it going like, Iran's getting involved. And then once Iran gets involved, they got a whole fleet. I mean, they got a squad. They call Syria getting involved. Iraq might get involved. Does
Iran really want to get involved? Not by itself. I mean, that's why today they're announcing they're trying to create kind of a coalition among Middle Eastern states. They're calling on other Muslim countries to enforce an oil embargo against Israel. So they're kind of trying to manufacture or to create this coalition
But they also know it
will
wouldn't be by
allow this to
themselves.
become something bigger. They don't want to get caught in a in a regional shooting war directly with Israel, because that would, I mean, I think there's a really high chance that Tehran would just be nuked by the United States, right?
There's a chance. That's true. But they also, like, there's a reality that they know if the U.S. sends, because it's different when you just have troops somewhere, and it's kind of like, unfortunately, like an accepted norm. That's different. But we already know what it looks like when the U.S. signs an executive order just to send troops. We know what comes next: more troops. We know what they do, more troops. And then all of a sudden, you go from into this nation. Now your troops are bleeding into next door.
Mm-hmm.
And the troops never stop, because we know, as long as, you don't have to declare war if you're the president. You just send a little bit at a time. So if you're sending U.S. troops specifically with no timetable, like, what is the clear goal, guys? Like, that's that's some more Iraq, more Afghanistan shit. What's the clear goal when you send these troops? What was the clear goal when you send them to Syria? They're still there. So now you're sending 2,000 troops, probably more if they're not already more there, to my neighbor who wants to see me destroyed, and is actively seeking a war. If I'm Iran, I'm not worried about fighting the U.S. by myself, because it's really the rest of the other ones, Lebanon, Syria, the others, who are waiting for Iran to flinch. They're like, when y'all say go, we right here behind you, bro. We right here waiting for you. We ain't gonna go until you say go. But once Iran says go, that's it. Like, they've been preparing for this, kind of the same way that Russia's preparing to engage with Ukraine, right? Yeah. They've been preparing for this, but you are right. There is a legitimate fear that Tehran does get nukes, but if that nuke goes off, then we're fucked anyway. It doesn't, it ain't gonna be just Iran that gets bombed.
Yeah, well, I mean, it has the capability of being a massive. I mean, it is a powder keg right now, and if it were to explode, it's just, I can't predict the trajectory of the little bits of flak, where everything's gonna go, because it could go really, really wrong really quickly, or it could just be the end of the Zionist dream. And
man, you out here, don't be talking sweet to me on this goddamn shit.
That was I've been looking for, but man,
but I mean,
that wouldn't that be? Oh man, Wyatt, that you just got me all like giddy.
Like there needs to be something to be shown. Like, you know what I mean? 800 Palestinians were just killed in the hospital bomb. That's horrific. No one wants that to happen. But since it's happened, something has to happen in return. Like, Israel needs to be I almost said it. Almost said the thing that got demonetized. Like, but you gotta know. Like, it got.
But you don't have to. Nick, here's the fucked up part. You never have to worry about an Israeli hospital in Tel Aviv being bombed and 800 people dying. That's the difference. You don't have to worry about it.
They don't have the technology.
Exactly. But Israel and the U.S. and they keep saying we're waging a war against Hamas. Once again, a war insinuates that both sides stand an equal chance for the most part of winning. That's not what's happening here. Like, they don't have a chance. Now, I'm not saying that Hamas doesn't have the capability to fight. In fact, I think that Israeli intelligence is realizing, if we actually go on the ground like we want to, we might get our asses handed to us. We need to chill the fuck out.
Well, that's why they're carpet bombing Gaza right now. That's why they're just going to carpet bomb the hell out of Gaza until it looks like Hiroshima.
They're pussies. They're bitches. They're bitches who realize.
They remember 2014. Yes. It was a humiliation. It was a massive humiliation. And since 2014, Hamas has gotten so much more professional, has built, I'm sure, and you can even read this in mainstream coverage now, just what they are walking into. It would make Bakhmut look like a cakewalk. It would be endless kill zones, snipers set up everywhere. Like, it would be a total massacre.
How many civilians would be saved? Because, they claim that it's Hamas hiding behind civilians. Okay, well, let's just say if you're more, capable, your intelligence is so reliable, because that's what they're always telling us, is that their intelligence is reliable. That's how they know everything about Hamas, including what draws they wore this morning, but they can't stop a fucking rocket. But if you go in there and you actually have a well-organized ground game, how many civilians do you save rather than just bombing? What they're doing right now, and the reason that they're justifying killing civilians is actually because they're cowards that aren't prepared for Hamas, and they don't want you to know that. They don't want to be embarrassed in front of the whole world. And because you know what that tells the rest of the world, like the rest of the region? Oh shit. We thought Israel was about this shit. So they just do pop shots from a distance because they can pretend to be more military. Yeah, you can do that. That's easy. But can y'all fight when the motherfuckers are fighting back and shooting back at you and they're just as prepared? Can you do that? And I don't think they can.
Go ahead, Wyatt, if you want to chime in.
Palestine doesn't have an air force.
Mm-hmm. And
they don't have that capability. They can't contest the skies in that sense. They don't really have even like the javelins and you know what I mean. They don't have the any kind of the surface to air missile capabilities really. But
if you wanted to get Hamas and your intel so good, just send ground troops. That's what special forces are for.
Supposedly. Well, who even knows what's left of their special forces at this point? Exactly. Because so many of them were on the border to begin with. Who knows how many of them got taken out? How many of them are currently sitting captive somewhere in a Gaza basement? There's so much we don't know about, and it's partly because it's kind of the fog of war thing, partly because obviously Hamas wants to keep its cards close to the chest, and you can never trust anything the Israelis say at all. So there is still this element of who is saying what, why, and I'm always a little bit more suspicious of what the Israelis say. I'm still not convinced that they lost 1,300 people. That 1,300 people died.
I'm literally in the same boat. I ain't want to say that because I ain't want to dismiss anybody's until we get some time. But I'm like, did that really that many? What? I don't even. How did 1,300 people die, bro?
Wouldn't be their biggest lie.
That would basically mean every single person at the rave died, literally everybody. And that's a big ass rave if you got 1,300 people there. For Tel Aviv, or not Tel Aviv, for Israel,
right?
That's a big ass rave.
Yeah, just for because I don't want to take keep your guys' time too much longer here, so I want to introduce just a few more things here to get your guys' thoughts on before we wrap the show up. Because I was showing a few receipts during your guys' brilliant conversation of the United States government arresting Jewish people for speaking out against Israel.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, once again, you guys really think this is a religious issue? I told you guys, Zionism failed.
Look at those anti-Semitic police officers.
Zionism failed to protect Jews in their homeland, and now it's failing to protect Jews across Europe and the United States. You guys know how devastating this is? Jews are being arrested and brutalized by the orders of the Biden administration and the United States government. 300 Jews has been arrested. Now, I just want to show this quick video. Another thing I want to add before I show this amazing base Jewish ally here. For the people who think this Israel-Palestine thing is a religious conflict, which I've been debunking since day one, you had a group of fascist, genocidal Jewish people bomb a Christian hospital, and Christians in the United States are apologizing for it.
Or do you guys know how never happened?
If this was a religious conflict, why are there Christians in the UK and the United States apologizing for a group of extremist Jews bombing a Christian hospital?
Well, because it never happened, and also it was Hamas's fault. So just pick one of those, and that's my answer, because it supports Israel, and BB has a long shaft. I don't know what else to say. I don't. What's crazy is first of all, I think it also can be expressive of BB does not give a single fuck about the Israeli people. He is setting them up for a horrific failure. Their lives are in danger, and they may feel a little bit protected because I guess it's easy to feel insulated when you're on the interior of Israel and you're not having to deal with that. But those settlements are about to get popping, right? It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be another it's going to be. It's not going to be with IDF versus Hamas. It's going to be Palestinians versus Israeli settlers. And it's going to get ugly, and then people are going to be dying from both sides that don't need to die because people feel like they got to protect their own, right? But Bibi don't care. Why would he not want a ceasefire? If your ultimate goal is supposedly, allegedly, to protect Israel, why would you not want a ceasefire? Why would you take any chance? Because if you're so terrified, it's the logic once again. If I'm terrified of that damn pit bull across the street, what I'm not gonna do is kick his fucking doghouse and then be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're chasing me. Oh, I'm a victim. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm so terrified of this pit bull. That's why I wouldn't go fuck with it.
Well, Netanyahu doesn't have the room politically to maneuver there anyway. You know, the only people who can really take him out are to the right of him, are even more extreme than him. And that's who he's really playing to and has played to for most of his career. And so he can't afford to look to that crowd to even, like, he's even thinking about a ceasefire. And also, I will say, in terms of, like, because so much of the overreaction to the Hamas incursion has been framed as we have to protect the hostages, we have to rescue the hostages. Yeah. Some of the only people we have documented actually killing these captives are the IDF, right? And we know that under what the Israelis call the Hannibal Directive, which has existed in some form or another since the 1980s, basically the Israeli military is authorized to do whatever it takes to prevent an IDF soldier from falling into enemy hands, up
as
to
in Hannibal Lecter
killing that soldier. They are authorized to kill their own soldiers if that's what it is needed to do to prevent them from becoming a hostage.
As in Hannibal Lecter?
Hannibal Directive.
Like, so cannibalize your own people.
Just be called.
Holy shit.
Let me get this video, though, because I want to make sure I'll show the last few receipts so I can get you out here. Let me show you the video of this rabbi. It's only 90 seconds.
It is not the difference of religion which is causing this conflict. The state of Israel does not represent all Jews, and certainly does not represent the Jewish religion. According to Jewish religion, all of this is criminal. All of this is forbidden. Basics of Jewish belief teaches that Jews are in a divinely decreed exile. We are even forbidden to create a sovereignty for ourselves. But especially when this is by killing, stealing, oppressing an entire people. This is not only criminal according to international law. This is a true violation of Judaism. And still, those people who choose not to follow Judaism misuse that very same religion to justify
Bibi's not even religious.
All those crimes forbidden in Judaism. The root cause is this criminal occupation which is oppressing an entire people. We have to end this occupation in its entirety. If people will ask me my advice, the leaders of Israel should wake up tomorrow morning and step out of the Knesset and return the land back to indigenous population. I guarantee peace.
It's true.
Base.
And guess what? And there did a lot of people that, and guess did a lot of Jewish people that would still be there. That's the funny part. There are. It's just that the BBs wouldn't, and that's what they don't like.
Right. Well, I actually sent you, Nick, this tweet that I made earlier today.
Yeah, let me check it out.
About this rally, but because I think there was just like the perfect encapsulation of kind of this dynamic we have in the U.S. in terms of supporting Israel that kind of unfolded.
Oh yeah, I've seen this. I'm glad that you brought it to my attention. So this is your tweet. I announced it and I'll pass it to you so you can explain. Jack Jenkins tweeted this out where you had Brandon Williams, a New York Republican, is holding an Israeli flag at the Jewish protesters that were protesting Zionism, that was calling for simply a ceasefire.
Right.
So this Republican waves this flag around, taunting the Jewish people being arrested with the Zionist flag. So your tweet reads, Christian congressman taunts pro-peace Jews with the Israeli flag is somehow the perfect portrait of Zionism in America. Absolutely well said.
Is he one of the ones that was trying to ban flags in Congress because Rashida Tlaib wore a Palestinian flag? Is he one of them, bro?
Oh, was he?
I imagine.
Yeah.
Mostly the Republicans.
Yeah, there was a lot of Republicans that supported that. But why do you want to chime in?
Well, he's a Christian conservative. Williams, I mean, he's got the most goy name you can imagine, Brandon Williams. And it's like he's down there like, I don't know, like lecturing these people. Like, I would love for him to have actually tried to have a conversation about like Judaism, the apparent need for a Jewish homeland to be enforced at gunpoint. You know, I would love for him to actually sit down and have a conversation with anyone, because I guarantee you he can't. I guarantee you can't actually explain why he even thinks what he thinks. Right?
Nope.
He just
Good
knows,
follow-up, though,
there's some.
He probably doesn't even know that those are Jewish people down there.
He probably
like,
doesn't even know they're
let's
Jewish.
be real.
Yeah.
He probably thought it was. He probably got word of the pro-Palestine protests, brings the Israeli flag, and they're probably looking at him like, "What the fuck?" Like, okay,
Right.
I have the chain on too, I guess. Like, I got a Dar David on too. Anyway, like, dog, like that's insane to me. Like, I don't. What is he? What the fuck? Like,
What are you doing, bro?
What is he doing? Like, what? How is he taunting them? Like, what is he? Are you? Because what it really comes off as like, y'all not real Jews.
Right.
And
Exactly.
you know
That's what it comes off as.
Right.
You want to know what else I
don't know
saw?
what's good for you.
What's up, Nick?
You want to know what? You want to know what else I saw? I saw a ton of right wingers on Twitter. Maybe I can pull up a tab and maybe I can find some. They was calling for all these people to be arrested. They was like, "Hey, didn't you guys arrest January 6th protesters for protesting at the Capitol? All you guys should arrest these people." So the same people who was complaining about the weaponization of the government is calling for Jewish people to be arrested in mass, which they are, for protesting genocide.
That's how
Once again, you can, and your tweet is on point, Wyatt, because there is no better fucking visual representation of the failure of Zionism other than this event. But I pass it back to you, Wyatt, Niko, if you guys want to chime in. I had a lot I want to get through, but I've just been enjoying this conversation.
I believe that the people at January 6th shouldn't have been arrested because, like,
I agree.
Fuck, like the government. Fuck the government. Like, fuck those buildings. Like, the slaves built them. Like, y'all kiss my ass if you think I'm gonna support anybody getting arrested for protesting in the government building. So, like, there's that. But it also, once again, perfectly encapsulates the reality that, oh, y'all are upset that January 6th people got arrested because they're on your team. You don't believe in the First Amendment. You believe in your team being able to practice the First Amendment. That's not the same thing as these constitutional conservatives. Now, I will say I didn't see like a lot of people. I was kind of like waiting to like see what they would say, and they were like, they were upset because people got arrested on January 6th, and there was a level of hypocrisy displayed, or by some liberals who were complaining about these particular arrests. Okay, I get that. That I do understand, but they weren't saying like they should have been arrested. So I get that. But at the same time, like, people are finding out like January 6th, people didn't get arrested because they broke into a building. These people didn't get arrested because they broke into a building. You're protesting the wrong issue. That's basically what they're telling you. You're standing up to the empire. I think you're
right when I think it's fair for especially someone on the right to say, "Oh, well, you guys arrested January 6th people. Why not arrest these people?" Because I explained many times, how does it serve our interest to give the government a mandate to arrest us for protesting Capitol? I'm not for that at all. But now,
like, Constitution does not say the right to protest with the permit.
Yeah, and I was reporting at the Palestinian protests in Kansas City. I aired my interview.
I'm glad you're safe, man. Because bro, I was kind of worried. But I'm glad.
And I would never criticize the action. They was all amazing people. But you guys know that protest was at the same spot I was tear gassed at the George Floyd protest. It was at the same exact spot. So whenever there's a protest, whenever we're upset at the government, there's a designated area that we go
to call people. Yeah, that's the point.
So the grievance zone.
That's why I said that's what the first, bro. You don't read the Constitution. It says the right to protest with the permit in this very specific location. Yeah, that's what it says. It's in the fine print, though. You know, calligraphy. I know it's hard to read. You can miss it.
Yeah, they cut out the 3/5 part and then they put in the permit.
So I was like very happy to be there, and I'm glad the action happened. But you guys realize that every single Kansas City protest is at this damn park. So
that's why you don't get surprised. Like I get surprised when I see protests at random places. I'm like, holy shit, how's this protest?
You can protest here?
Yeah, bro. Like when you go online and you see protests at random places, unfortunately we're so used to it now that like we know where somebody's going to stand at when they protest. Like we know what buildings to see in the background. Like, but when that doesn't happen, you're like, holy shit, oh, this is a real protest. Looking for the tear gas. Like real. Yeah, you start looking for the tear gas. Like you're like, yeah, y'all at the wrong place because the permit protests will not bring change. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Women's marches don't bring change. Whatever, like that type of shit. Don't, like the protests, when you get arrested, that's what brings change. Like people need to, which is crazy. You're protesting usually because rights are being violated, and when you get arrested during a protest, your rights are again being violated, and people need to see that. That is part of the reason you protest, not just to bring attention to the issue, but to bring attention to the rights specifically being violated. So like. That's just it is what it is. But yeah,
I said it many times. A protest where you're given permission by the government, essentially a glorified prep rally.
Right. Yeah,
and that is what the right wing wanted. What was that?
Why parade?
Yeah,
it's a parade. Oh, don't y'all love the protests wherever the cops are escorting the protesters through the city? Y'all love those? Like with Cuba Libre. I lived in Miami during the Cuba protests. Libre protests.
Oh,
bro,
yeah,
I'm like watching the motherfucking cops escort the people through Miami, and I'm like with my friend, and she's like, "Why are you laughing?" I'm like, "Yo, you think this is a protest?" I said, "Where I'm from, police are fucking protesters up. They're not escorting into the city and giving them water to make sure that they remain hydrated. That's not what a protest is. Like that's not."
But didn't they did arrest a couple of them who tried to like shut down an interstate? Am I misremembering that? Like a couple of them went overboard and tried to.
Yeah, but because like now you're messing up money, you're messing up.
Yeah, exactly.
People. Yeah, that's different, right? Like
you didn't quite realize the rules here.
So we put this. You didn't see us put the cones out here for you. We told you to protest in the cones. Like you're gonna piss us off, man.
I went to war with these quote unquote right wing free speech warriors because I'm like, you guys are cracking down on protests. That's literally the definition of cracking down on free speech because for some reason they drew the line at houses. They said because the Supreme Court made a decision to roll back people's rights. So then people was upset at them. So people were showing at their houses. So then Ron DeSantis, the quote unquote free speech warrior, passed a bill so it made it illegal to protest at politicians' homes. I'm like, God, this is a deeply authoritarian bill. Right. So you can't protest at their house? Their house is a legitimate place to fucking protest.
It is.
And under COVID, it was the only place to protest them. Under COVID, like you couldn't protest them anywhere else because they never went anywhere else, and you never knew where they would be.
That's also true.
Yeah, and the same people who consider themselves anti-establishment on the right, I've seen their argument because I don't like to straw man people. That's why I read Ben Shapiro's timeline before. I don't straw man people. I use their argument. They were saying legitimately, well, if you guys show up their house, that's crossing a red line. That's going too far. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. This is the ruling
I'm not
gonna
go and burn this shit down.
This is how we hold them accountable. But anyway, I went a little bit off topic on that because that's generally how.
That's relevant.
Yeah,
that's relevant as fuck, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys hear this go soon because there's no way I'm getting through all this stuff today. It was very enjoyable. We gotta do this again. There's so much to cover on this.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
I don't want to give you guys
a lot of time to do this shit.
But I'm gonna just show you guys. I'm gonna show you this. And Niko, you are right regarding there are right wingers who've been calling this out, who've been principled, but also been seeing a lot of these Republicans who are just bootlickers. This is an example of one of them. Marjorie Taylor Greene live stream insurrection at the Cannon Building of Congress. Pro-Hamas.
No, her January 6th clout just went way out the window.
She called a bunch of Jewish people pro-Hamas radicals. And this is actually much worse than January 6th. DCPD need to arrest every single one of these criminals.
They did. They did.
They did for one.
Well, all of Marjorie. Now, when that Marjorie Taylor Greene shit get, because you know she when the next time January 6th come around, she gonna be the first one tweeting, and I want everybody to remember this shit. Everybody remember. Oh no, you said they should be arrested. Well, no, but I was just saying that because of what happened. No. You said it though, right? Because it basically now these people disagree with you, and now you want to get your get back. So here we are. You don't get to talk about this anymore.
I mean, my honest opinion when January 6th happened was like, this is very funny. This is very
100%. I laughed my ass off, bro. I really did on live,
just like laughing and like
my stream got taken down because I was laughing so damn hard about that shit, bro. I was like, oh, this is hilarious. They were like, oh my god, this is so bad. I'm like, bro, this shit is entertaining. Like, what took so long, guys?
Right.
What the fuck?
It was like a carnival. It was like a carnival walked into the halls of power. And then you had all the different clowns and all the characters, and what was the one with the headdress? The shaman?
It was great.
Bro, I'm like watching people climb into the building. I'm like, yo, this is nuts. Like I thought it was funny. some people I guess thought like their lives were in danger, even though I was there the day I was there the day before.
Well, like somebody did die, and you know.
But that wasn't.
That's I don't necessarily.
It was like not. It was like connected, but not really connected. Like the person like had a heart attack or some shit like that. Like it wasn't like somebody pulled up and shot some.
Who got shot.
Oh yeah. No, that was fucked. That was fucked up.
She should have been shot, but
no, she was executed.
She was shot.
They already knew she didn't have a weapon, and they picked the. It was like, okay, so there's a crowd of people, and you decided I'm going to shoot the defenseless white woman dead at point blank range. Like that shit is, and what was even weirder is like that was one of Pence's like personal bodyguards, and like he wasn't in the building.
It was weird. It was, and so no. But I'm kind of the position, like neither people in this case should have like really been arrested. They let the January 6th people in. You had all these officers like walking up old ladies and just like showing.
We all saw it. We saw the red carpet. Literally, they try to gaslight us like, nah, man, it's like one of them Berenstein Bears situations. That's not really what happened. You know, like what do they call the Mandela effect? Like, nah, man, y'all didn't see that red carpet. It's like, no, we saw it. Y'all definitely tried to leak the videos off of Twitter, but motherfucker, we saw them lining up in a straight line like they were on a guided tour.
Right.
We watched that happen. I don't give a shit.
And a lot of them were kind of acting like they were on a guide. Like in the videos when they walk through, they're just kind of like, like they're just kind of looking around,
acting. Like, I feel like they really thought they're like shit's like being in a museum with nobody here.
Right.
Like
exactly.
nobody thought that.
I remember the videos that came out that showed that it was essentially a tour guide. And these videos were scrubbed from the internet. And like Niko and like you said, Wyatt, and this is kind of lost to history because the propaganda industry wrote shit. But you guys know Black Twitter was fucking trending when January 6th happened because the entirety of Black Twitter, including me, was just cracking the fuck up. I'll show you guys my Twitter. Yeah. I was joking about January 6th, and so many people in the Bernie camp canceled me on January 6th. I sent all these tweets, and they was so mad, bro. That was like that was like during my divorce. With these people, I was canceled by so many progressives. Like, how dare you joke around about January 6th? I'm like, fam, look at Black. It was a joke. Everyone on Black Twitter was laughing at this fucking Yankee revolution that was going on at Capitol building. And then the right wingers freaking out over the police and countering them. We're like, oh, so now you know.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. That's why we were trending. Because we're like, oh, so y'all don't like cops now, huh?
Right.
That shit sucks.
It was a funny ass day like that. Twitter on that day was lost to history, but it was literally the entirety of Black Twitter, and most people just laughing and documenting that this shit is a joke. And then that shit was scrubbed by the internet since then. But Wyatt, feel free to chime in. We can wrap up here soon. But anything you want to chime in on, Wyatt?
Well, it was the day that liberals formalized their engagement with law enforcement in America because they had been on the rocks a little bit during the BLM stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, thank you, FBI. Thank you, police. Oh, thank you for saving democracy. Blah, 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 blah.
I still remember that.
And all the liberal left too, they're like, oh, it was an insurrection, a nearly a successful coup against democracy itself. And I was like, wait, you guys think we have democracy? And wait, don't you guys want to do this yourself?
I thought you were anti-government.
I thought you guys were like socialist revolutionaries and you wanted to do something like this. And now you're talking about, oh, it's an insurrection, lock them up. Just like, really?
Yeah, that's the tweet I
said. You, like,
that's the tweet I said that hurt their feelings because this is the tweet that got me in a ton of fucking trouble. And I see they scrubbed a ton of likes off of this.
Oh yeah, every time, bro. You know the popular.
I had literally 13,000 likes on this tweet when I laughed. And I was at 10,000. They scrubbed this. They be scrubbing likes all the time. People on Twitter know that. But I said hilarious, and this was a joke, by the way. I said hilarious how the right wing was more down for a revolution than the progressive left. It's a joke because I don't think they're serious about revolution.
It's funny.
It was
funny
because
joke like
to poke at these progressives who used to fantasize about this stuff, but now they AOC's in the progressive like, oh my god, the horror. They're like, what the fuck do you think we're gonna do if we're successful? So and you guys see my follow-up tweet because I met so many people fucking furious. Yeah, and I said a lot of feelings were hurt by this tweet. Go write in your diary about it. Because I would never forget about that day. It was funny as hell.
And watching them, I was like one of the ones who spoke out like in defense of like I won't say in defense necessarily of Ashley Babbitt, but like calling out that cop. And I was like, well, there goes y'all George Floyd. How's it feel? Now she's being dehumanized. Now her murder by a cop, an unnecessary murder by a cop, like they're trying to say she broke into the building, she was breaking the law. Well, they're like, well, what up? There's proportional punishments in. Yeah, we know. There was proportional punishments before, but y'all didn't give a fuck about that before until it was this white woman, this conservative white woman who supported Trump. When she got killed, all of a sudden y'all were looking for justice for a police officer who did so. And now you understand context. Now you understand nuance. Now you understand proportional punishment. But when it was George Floyd, it was, oh yeah, fentanyl system. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Oh, he had a criminal record. Okay, like did he already serve his time? Like we put people perpetual punishment without redemption? Because I mean, based off of what y'all say, she shouldn't have broke the law. She wouldn't have got shot, which is bullshit. That's not the case. She shouldn't have been shot. Period. But also, George Floyd should have been choked out. It's that simple. So like, be consistent, people. That's all I'm saying.
It just reminds you so few people actually have principles that they stand by in times like this. Whether it's
not good for the algorithm.
Ukraine stuff, the Israel-Palestine stuff, January 6th, and now they're trying to call it and make it a meme. October 18th. That's like the new right-wing response. Oh, do you remember October 18th? I'm looking at people like trying to tattle on me to the FBI because I made a post about it.
Man, look,
it's the same thing.
Ideological consistency is not good for the algorithm, right?
Nope.
It's not good for the Twitter followers. It's not good for the verticals. You know, it's sad, but that's what it comes down to. Like I've taken so many hits. Nick's taking hits. All like when we take hits for like holding people accountable for the things that we've always held people accountable for. It's just that they were, you know, they're Republican this time instead of Democrats, and now our conservative friends are mad, or maybe they're, you know, a liberal this time, or AOC this time, and now our leftist friends are mad, or maybe it's DSA or Sunrise Move. It's like, bro, no, I literally have been saying the same thing. The names just get replaced.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. And y'all are mad at me for being the same person rather than being mad at them for fucking switching up.
Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, we'll work up some tweets to like recapture our lost like Russia-Ukraine audience. I'm thinking it didn't happen, and if it did, Hamas did it.
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
That should
There
take
you
care
go,
of it.
bro.